Okay.
All right. Coming back in live.
Here we are.
Live from the kitchen table.
Yeah, first episode of the Right-Hand Drive Guys. Here we are. So we just figured we'd chat it up about the first right-hand drive cars we had. I mean, it's been like quite a while. Like, how long ago was the first? We just so happened to both have our first right-hand drive cars at the same time.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. It was like late 2008, 2009.
Late 2008, 2009. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, in Tennessee, right? You were in Tennessee. I had my first one. I was in Colorado at the time. So you had yours in Tennessee.
Yeah.
With
yeah,
Tennessee tags?
No, well, kind of. It was a sketchy thing.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was a sketchy thing back then, kind of, just because it was obviously an illegal car, not being 25 years old. But, yeah, I mean, I never really officially got it registered. I just used it a lot for drifting and stuff. It was...
I saw that thing on the road. What do you mean?
Yeah, I had friends with used car dealerships I used to get the temp tags from. So I drove it around on temp tags.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I drove mine around
tags.
on a swap VIN, but not even. And I drove it around on the dealer tags that I acquired.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then,
looking back, that's kind of definitely not something I would do nowadays.
No, it was a different time too, though, because we were doing what we could with what we had, in the sense of just to do it, just to drive, just to enjoy the vehicles.
Yeah, I didn't care, dude. It was a daily driver for me, for the most part. I mean, if it was running, it was a daily driver, and it was like, it was a 95 180 SX, Type X.
It would have been legal now.
Yeah. yeah. I guess it would have been legal now, but yeah, definitely at the time it was, and it was VIN swapped. But yeah, it was like an ex-drift car that guy from Atlanta had imported over and used as like his Nopey drift car. And
yeah, so she'd been banged up a bit.
Oh yeah, dude. yeah. I found pictures online, dude, of that car just annihilating walls. Like,
wow.
Whole front
Before or
smash.
after the purchase?
Before my purchase. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this was like probably, I think 2004, 2005 that the pictures of the car getting crashed were at.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it was still a fun car. It still had a cool SR in it and had a cage and some other cool parts and whatever.
It was badass. I remember. I even remember a time when a cop, by the time I moved to Tennessee and I was rolling with you, and a cop came out and was asking about it. We were like, oh, this dude's fucked. But actually the dude was interested in it. That was like, wow, this is wild. This dude's like probably not even properly registered, and this cop's more asking about the cam or whatever he's asking about. Yeah,
had some big cams in it.
Yeah, that was definitely cool. Like, to not have him actually hassle.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was. I don't know if it was just me back then, how I drove or what, but it was definitely a cop mag. And I got pulled over a couple times, and I guess back then the whole right-hand drive thing, I mean, they were around, but
right, they're like, what the
they were pretty rare.
Is this,
I mean,
dude?
Around Nashville at the time, there was a couple Skylines and a couple right-hand drive swap Civics and stuff like that, but definitely just a handful. So it was something that was definitely rare, whereas now I feel like there's a lot more.
Oh yeah,
way more.
Just because of the 25 years.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's like, Nashville, right, there was cars, but they didn't come out all that often, and compared to the amount of other cars, like, yeah, they weren't seeing them, for sure. They're like, what the hell is this?
Right.
What, you a mailman? What's your deal?
Yeah, that was always the thing.
Yeah, I deliver mail.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in Colorado, I mean, I was in Colorado Springs, but we hung out in Denver a lot. And I mean, there was some right-hand drive cars, a lot of like Hondas and stuff, like just like I had. That's why I probably got one, because I saw the right-hand drive Hondas there, and I was like, oh wow, these are sick. Gotta search one out. So the search was on. The search was on for my first right-hand drive car. So, like I said, a bunch of Hondas out there in Colorado, and so I was like, and I had also backstory real quick. I had a Civic hatchback prior to this, like back in 2004 or 5. That was like a CTR clone, so it had the wing, it had the decals, the imitation
Right.
Recaros, the whole deal, whatever. So naturally, I was trying to find a Civic Type R. When I go on my search, where do I go to search? Honda Tech. The big old forum community of
Dude, the forum days.
fucking Honda kids, where you could get ripped off so quick. If you went on, if you went on NWP, and if the guy was legit on NWP, you knew you were dealing with somebody decent on Honda Tech.
Right, but even they were kind of like later, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, I went searching, and I found a 99 Civic Type RX in El Paso, Texas. And I bought it sight unseen.
What's the RX mean?
Trim model, like later trim model that came with like certain little bits, like pedals and just the RX, right? And I think it didn't come with the CD player or the tape player. It came with like the block off plate and like
Right, it was like the more track version of the.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it was cool. Like compared to the '96 that I had, it was definitely like just a little cooler.
Yeah.
And it was the '99, second gen.
Right. That's sick.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got it, and I already had quite a bit done to it. I got it back then for $13,000, $13K.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, like now that thing would pull.
It wasn't even that old at that point.
No, it really wasn't. This was in 2008 when I first got mine.
It's like a 9-year-old car.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I can't really remember now, but I do remember the story of the guy that brought it in and had a company that he did a bunch of the work, because it was like tucked and battery tuck and all of that stuff, and so it was like pretty done up already. So I put my little touches to it, put the Takata Green TE37s on it.
Classic.
Yeah, those were definitely, those were a hit. Those got me for sure into the magazines. September 2009. Import tuner and S3 in the same month.
Nice.
Yeah. When they realized that that's what was going on, they're like, okay, dude.
Like, how did he got over it?
Yes, he
How
did.
did he do this?
Yes, I know, because I was like both at the same time. So
That's so cool.
yeah, it was cool because it got me like a little sponsorship with Password JDM, where they sent me a bunch of shit.
Dude, yes.
JHP USA, they sent me a bunch of shit, like,
Dude,
because
yeah.
they knew I was about to be in 2 at once. That's like, oh shit.
Right, they want you rocking the banner.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. That was the specific part of the whole deal. But yeah, so that was my first right-hand drive car, 99 Civic Type RX. Just B16B, just ripping. Loved it. I love that car. Just hit VTEC. VTEC.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
how can you not?
Yeah. So, but I mean, right, that feels like so long ago now.
Yeah. It does. It really does. It's like, it's crazy how time flies.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that was our little story about when we met, was we were on a highway headed to like a little meet. What was Wynn's place called?
Burgers and Cream.
Burgers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Cream.
Yeah, it was in Franklin, Tennessee.
Fuck yeah, it was. And it was like, it was dank. Like, that was a dank spot.
Yeah, it was cool. It was always popping. There was this dude. He was obviously a car guy, and he held these meets on the weekend. And yeah, the whole lot would be filled with cars, like from the meet, and it was just like a forum thing, like. And it was all just dudes that knew each other, pretty much, for the most part, and like dudes from the forum. And it was like
the early days,
like,
though,
early
like
days.
people like Chase McMaster from Chase Bays was there. Like, it was.
Yeah, you never knew who was going to be there.
Yeah.
At any given weekend, it was like kind of wild, and some pretty sick cars ended up coming out. Throughout the day, throughout the various weekends.
Yeah, like early relationships were like built there because people were coming up from, Alabama and Atlanta and these different places just to do some of these little like meets. It was
Right.
like, it was Nashville at one point was somewhat of a hub for some of the car stuff. So we were headed to the meet. We're headed to Burgers and Cream, and I'm like headed there, and I had heard about it, and I wasn't even like sure where it was. I'd never been up there to Franklin. That's like the wealthier.
Yeah, it's a nicer part of town, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we weren't hanging out there too much.
Yeah, no, it was kind of out of the way.
Yeah.
It was a little bit out of like downtown Nashville, but
Which is
definitely
where a
cool
lot
area.
of this stuff would go down, especially in the
Right.
early days at the bridge.
Yeah.
If you're from Nashville and you're into cars, you know about the bridge.
Definitely the bridge and 9th and Commerce.
I think Commerce and
Did you
then.
ever go to that spot?
Yeah, it's like was it a parking garage?
No. It was just that like lot in between a few buildings on like
Yeah.
a corner. But I just saw the other day that they're actually turning that into like a giant parking garage or condo or something.
Wow.
Something huge structure there. So it's crazy how it was that lot. There was a meetup spot, and now it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
changed.
it's getting developed. Yeah, and then there was the spot that you would go out and run them 8'10", 8 foot.
840. Yeah.
840. Yeah, yeah, that's cool because I've been able to be a part of multiple like kind of car scenes, and like Colorado had the same type of thing. I can't remember if you're from the Springs, Denver, you know where I'm talking about, but it was the same thing. You go out to this 2-lane highway, and it's always dead between this time and this time, and you run them, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, and it's
sick.
always that like group of people that always do it. Like, and you whenever they leave, halfway through the meet and come back, you know what they just did.
Yeah, they just hit
Like-
840. Yeah, so that was cool. I mean, so we're both headed to this meet, and like I said, I had no idea. I'd never been there, and I look over and I hear a car, loud ass fucking car. I look over and I'm like, okay, dude in a 240 or whatever. I just quickly glance, and then I'm like, wait, what? Look back over. Dude's in a right-hand drive. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I haven't really seen too many other people like this. Like, damn, I'm going to follow his ass. And we were both going to the same place. That was like, oh shit. Hey, what's up? What's up?
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah, it was
car.
cool. I remember I just came through like one of the interchanges through downtown Nashville, and I was like looking ahead. I was like, oh, that looks like a pretty cool Civic, because whatever, you had like a lower tie bar or something on, right? Like one
Yeah.
of those purple like beaks or whatever. You would
Yeah,
always
yeah.
see them on the back, right? I was like, oh, cool. So I was like, yeah, whatever, sped up, check it out. I was like, oh shit, it's that guy with the tie bar, like from the forums.
10speed.net.
yeah,
Shout out
10
10speed. Shout out 10speed. Come
yes,
on.
dude. So like I was like, oh, dude, and like I rode next to you for a minute and like made some noise because whatever, my car's straight piped at the time, so I guess it was a little loud. But yeah, whatever. We just kind of cruised to the meet, and yeah, it was just wild.
Yeah.
Seeing
Ironic.
a Type R Civic just kind of cruising down the road, and at that time it was like probably the first one I had seen at the time. Maybe, one at Import Alliance meet or
Yeah.
something like that. But like,
Yeah. Shout out Don, Import Alliance.
yeah,
Yeah, we probably saw a lot of cars for the first time at an Import Alliance,
for sure.
just some of the random ones that would show up there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of crazy.
yeah, and that's what I was saying. Tennessee, like, has been like a melting pot for like the car scene multiple different ways. Like, it's
Right. There's been a bunch of like, even those like car show, car meet things like come out of Tennessee. Even
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Like,
yeah, like right.
it's great to see what
Alliance,
Import
yeah.
Alliance is nowadays too. Like,
Yeah,
it's huge. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's
It's
like been
insane
going
how
on for a long time too, and
right at this point. It's
yeah, and
pretty
so
wild.
we were there at like the beginning, so to speak.
Yeah, we didn't even realize it.
Yeah, like
We
what
were
we
just
were a
at that
part of. Yeah,
next weekend thing.
yeah, right. Like
know,
the next car thing that we could go to that was just doing and right, like the fall meets, spring meets, like Atlanta, like
the fall meets at Two Rivers.
yeah, and just right. That was it then, right? It was just at Two Rivers, not at like Atlanta Motor Speedway or whatever they've done
Right.
at this point. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how small it started and like
Kind of grassroots, like,
organic.
and a lot
growth
of
like
good
that.
cars at the beginning too. It wasn't like it started like a bunch of jalopies, like there because people were coming from these surrounding areas. Like
Right.
you had,
And it was that's another like forum thing, right? Like it was big on Honda Tech and
yeah,
because there would always be a pre-meet, right?
right, yeah, the pre-meet,
The forums would have a pre-meet before the real meet.
yeah. And like, so at one point at Two Rivers, like when you're saying like that one fall meet, you had multiple Civic Type R's.
Oh, yeah, it was insane.
With, R32, like, just like all just at this parking lot, like
Yeah.
off of Briley Parkway, right?
Right.
Yeah, just this like wild.
Right. For me, like it like growing up, that's not like a crazy area or anything. That's not like this destination park or anything like that. It's just this random park that has like a wave pool and a skate park with a big parking lot. And yeah, they would just hold the meets there, and like it was crazy like the amount of people that would come out. Like it would fill that place.
And on the sides and everything. What was the car? What did Andrew have? A
Uh,
little something. What would he have? He had a
He had a Civic.
he had that Civic
He had a right-hand drive Civic.
that see, so think about that. Like
Right.
just in Two Rivers Park outside of Nashville, there's 7-8 right-hand drive cars in
Right.
2009.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's like pretty legit.
Yeah, and even then, like the scene wasn't huge. Like, if you were in it and you were going to those meets, it was like pretty much the same groups everywhere you go. Like, there'd be a few new
Right.
faces, like at the North Side meet or whatever. But like, for the most part, it'd be the same people. So if you went to the meets, you would get to know these people, and it was like pretty small group, seeing as it is now, where it's like insanely huge and all these different like car clubs and just nonsense.
Right, yeah. What it's like formed into with the
Right.
new generations, which is like,
It's like huge now, or maybe I'm just like old and out of it and don't realize.
yeah, that's the thing, is like we've progressed professionally, which left like the hobby thing on the side a little bit, as far as like keeping up with as much as we could back then, especially when we were living in it,
right.
being in
That's all we
Maine.
had going.
yeah, right. Besides the thing we were doing to keep that going.
Right, yeah, it
You
was
know.
work, and then like
Yeah.
for me, I was a mechanic, so like, dude, I mean, that was so cool. Like, looking back, like I was a mechanic, right? And I would get takeoff tires for free. And at the time, I was like starting getting into drifting and stuff. So like going to these track days and like parking lot events and stuff like that. And like the only really way I could afford it is because I got all these takeoff tires for free. I like never had to pay for tires. So like I would have a decent set of front tires that would last me an entire season driving to all these events and stuff. But like all the spares, I just had a bunch of spares that were 16-inch tires that were a popular size. So I got all these free tires, and dude, it was so cool.
Running Civic tires at the track. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That is one of those things that probably doesn't happen so much now, right?
Right, probably not. I mean, unless you just know someone or into it, but yeah, looking back, that was pretty cool.
Just like, yeah, getting that hookup that facilitated the dream. Yeah,
right,
that's pretty
for
legit.
that moment, dude. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to like afford tires on top of like car upkeep and doing whatever upgrades and paying for these events and stuff. Like, so.
Right, yeah, it all adds up. I wasn't doing too much track style stuff with like my Civic because it was kind of set up to more be like whatever the 80 different words for not tracking it is, and just, but we would cruise the shit out of it, like, because like we would cruise from Colorado Springs up to, Denver and fuck with all the Denver dudes, and me and this dude Gray, who, if you're from Nashville, who used to be Nashville on Instagram, right? It was he had, his name's Richie. Yeah, and so he actually bought Gray's Civic. It's such like a small world. But anyways, me and Gray used to rip up and down. We were like the two dudes with right-hand drive Civics. But I'm living in Colorado with a Civic that has the heat stripped out of it and everything. Like, my wife is like blowing like fucking her breath in the car. Like, she's like, dude, what are we doing? And I'm like, yeah, we're ripping the Civic, baby. Shut up. But no, she was a good sport about it. She was always down to go for the ride. But yeah, no, it's right-hand drives have always sort of been the thing.
For sure.
It's always been the thing. So yeah, I mean, basically with this whole thing, we're just trying to cover the right-hand drive stuff for right-hand drive guys, right? Like
right-hand
guys like us that like right-hand drives. Yeah, like we're just guys that like right-hand drives with right-hand drive guys.
Yeah.
You feel
all
me?
day.
Yeah, I mean, so that's kind of the goal here is, we have some stuff lined up. We're building out a sweet garage. We're headed to Japan also. So we got some stuff we figured was worth throwing down on audio and just chatting about it. Maybe some like parts reviews or like, opinions on current news within the industry that has to do with our style shit. I don't know.
Yeah, all that.
All
and
that,
more.
whatever. Just whatever. Yeah, and more. Whatever flows off the dome. At one point before I had been able to get everything sorted with the registration for the car, I'm not sure if I ever actually got that sorted, but me and a couple guys were, driving on Platte in Colorado Springs, and cop pulls me over, and I have dealer plates on the car, and he's like, "So what are you a dealer? What dealership do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, no. So you see, my buddy, he works at the dealership. This car, I just got it in.
So you pretty much told the truth."
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I just was like, dude, yeah, no, it's like a real plate, like whatever. He looks, the registration's on the back of the plate. It's to McCluskey Subaru is where it's from. And he's like, "So where's your friend work at?" And I'm like, "McCluskey." And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "So does he own it? Is he like the manager, whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's one of the salesmen. Yeah, no, I'm just using it for the night, whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, no, that's not legal." So
that's not how this works.
Yeah. So he calls the tow truck. I sit there. I wait for the tow truck. Obviously, I'm not leaving my Civic, but he's not letting me leave. Obviously, I'm literally like, dude, like a mile and a half from the house, and I'm like, no, seriously, just let me drive. Like, you can escort me there. Who cares? Like, let's do this. And he's like, no, he has it impounded, towed to the impound, right? This is on Friday night.
What?
They're not opening until Monday.
Dude.
Yeah, so I can't get the car out until Monday. So you best believe multiple times I'm driving over to the impound because you can see it front row center, dude. 99 Civic Type RX. Rare ass car. Chilling in the impound in Colorado Springs, dude. I am just like, oh my gosh, like, please.
That's the worst.
Please don't. In Colorado Springs, shit was known for getting stolen. Like, dude, USDM Type Rs, multiple USDM Type Rs would get stolen. Like, people were like, not always super cool over in Colorado. I don't know. Like,
dude, people like stealing Hondas.
Yeah. And so you can imagine, I'm like,
yeah.
So we go and they're like, yeah, we need to see the title for this car. Like, if you want to take it. And I'm like, no, this is my car. Can I just have it, please? They're like, no. That's not how this works. I'm like, listen, there's not a title. It's not exactly legal.
Yeah.
It's mine. It's mine, though.
Mine.
Like, I do have a bill of sale for it. Will a bill of sale... Yeah, a bill of sale will work. Oh, yes, okay. Oof. We got to go get the bill of sale. Dude, when they opened those gates, I fell to my knees, dude. I was just like, thank you, Lord, for helping us get this thing out of here, dude. Like, got it back home. Bought a 4-door Civic. Registered it. Put this thing. Yeah, so that was hey, it was early. It was, like I said, late 2007, early 2008. So, like, I didn't freaking know, dude. I mean, I had no clue. I was just trying to do it, dude. That was always the dream. Like,
yeah, no, same with me with my tip tags, dude. But yeah, dude, one weekend it was the weekend of a drift event, so everyone was like getting their cars together and like ready. And I just did a bunch of work to my car, right? So I was like, all right, let's go street drifting, like test her out. Well, whatever I did, it was something on the intake manifold. So first turn I went around, clutch kicked, went full throttle, hung full throttle. So it was wide open going around this turn. I'm like freaking out, heading straight towards a curb.
Dude, nice.
Dude. Luckily, it was one of those like slanted curves, not straight up.
Yeah.
Dude, I hit it, launched the car.
Gone. Gone, dude. Flew.
Dude, my buddy was in the passenger seat.
Shitting brakes.
Dude, yeah, luckily he was strapped in.
Yeah.
But he was shitting bricks, dude.
Yeah. Dude.
It was pretty wild. It was a pretty mellow curb, so luckily there was like no like radiator support damage or anything like that. But yeah, it was crazy. It definitely launched it. And luckily I was able to stop because throttle hung wide open. And like, wow. That's the wildest feeling.
He hung
ever.
His throttle at the track, dude.
No, it wasn't even at the track. It was at this street drifting spot we had.
Fairgrounds.
Like
That's cool though. Like,
but
no damage. You drove out.
Nah, it ended up. I had a flat, so yeah, front tires were flat, but that was it. But like no like crazy damage beyond that. I just had like a little bit of damage.
Dude, wow. Yeah, that's the best, man.
Yeah, dude, it was definitely sketchy. But always tested that full throttle thing before I left the driveway from there on out if I did any work.
Yeah, I bet that was part of the daily checks. Yeah, bumper's still on, throttle's not stuck.
So sketchy. Never jumped a car like that before.
You can find us on Instagram at RHDGUYS. RHD guys. Because we're just two guys in the right hand drives. The right hand drive guys. So
Right hand drive guys.
that's us. That's what we're gonna do for you. Is just try to provide our outlook on right hand drive guys. Word.
Yeah.